Hey, this is Victor. I hope you're doing well. Okay, so in today's video, I wanted to talk to you about phantom deliverables. So phantom deliverables, it's a term I read about in a business book. And basically the idea is it's something where your customer is not expecting it, but you are delivering it to them anyway. And in the case of a website project, my phantom deliverable is like the back end of the website. So most people, when they get a website, they really just think about the front of it. They think about how pretty it's going to look, or if it's going to bring in new customers or whatever. But what they never really think about is just like the back end of the site. Like, how easy is the site going to be to edit and update? Like, what am I actually getting when I get the website? And we actually deliver like really nice back-end websites, but sometimes like you really don't get that. It's really, really hard to edit and update. So I wanted to walk you through kind of what the differences are between like a good back-end for a WordPress website and a bad one, and also some tips you can do to make sure that if you're getting a website that you don't get stuck with a tough to use back-end interface. So let's watch. Okay, so this actually just happened to me last night, which is why I'm making this video. And so we're working with a client and we're in the middle of redesigning their site. We did not do this site. This is like their current site right now. And so they sent me an email and they're like, hey, can you just remove one of the career postings from the careers page? And I'm like, sure, no problem. So this is the front end of their site. And I'm like, just give me your login information. So we logged in, or I logged into the back end of the site, and I was confronted with this, just a series of shortcode on top of each other, separated by some text, and then followed up with like additional shortcode. And I was like, uh-oh, I'm going to go call my developer and tell him to update this because I don't want to have to bother with this. And so we did. We updated the careers page, no big deal. But I could see why they needed a new website because this was just, way too hard to manage from the back end. And I've actually seen worse than this. I've seen it where it's just like pure HTML code, nothing that you could even recognize in terms of like spacing and everything like that, and just a mishmash mess for a back end of a site. So, to compare that, and not to brag too much, but like this is the back end of, one of our sites here. This is the front end of it. And then here's like the back end of that same site. So like the text title here, the description, this is the image for the stat. Let's just go back up here. You see this is 10 million, 12 million, all of those things. This is actually a different slide, but each image, each little thing is, easy to edit without having to know code or anything like that. Each little logo, each little description has its own thing. And we use a plugin, we use the Advanced Custom Fields plugin. I find that it's the easiest one to use. You can even like drag and drop and move it around. I know that WordPress has released this whole Gutenberg thing, which is supposed to make everyone's life easier. I haven't found that to be the case just yet. From a user perspective, I really still like the Advanced Custom Fields plugin and think it's way easier to manage on the back end. The two main things that you want to look out for when kind of looking into the back end of a WordPress website is some kind of back end interface like this where it's like easy to use. And then also the use of what are called custom post types. So kind of going back to this careers page, we have like each individual position here, and it's kind of in the back end here, kind of hard to get to. There's some kind of short code being used. I didn't investigate too further to find out where it is. I'm sure there's some kind of place. But to add each individual career position has to be done via shortcode. Whereas, for example, here's the careers page we made for the same site. So there's like the back end of the careers page, which is this, right? But then for each individual career position, which are the job openings, we're using what are called custom post types. So a custom post type, it's essentially like it's taking the blog post format, but it's creating a custom version of it. First thing, you can easily add new ones. You can drag and move it around to change the order. And then within that, there's like a ton of flexibility of things that you can do, such as in this case, it has the PDF, it has specific links here, labels. You can even categorize it with a tag here, which then allows you to kind of filter it by category, for example. And it's just a much easier interface. You can see here there's still the visual and text editor, so you can use the visual editor, and it's much easier to kind of update the site that way. So my advice to you is when you're thinking about getting a new website and hiring a website designer, what you really want to do is just ask them for login information to the back end of one of their test sites, and they should almost 100% be able to give that to you. If not, that should raise a red flag. But you want to be able to just take a test drive through the back end of the site, look at the quality of the work that they've developed. You might even want to have like a third-party person just come and check it out just to make sure that the code looks good. As a general rule, like if the code looks really crappy, like in the back end, so you can go here to Appearance Theme Editor. So Appearance Theme Editor. And, typically you want the code to look clean. Like I'm not a real developer. I am the business owner. I know a little bit, but I can just tell what good code looks like. And this looks like good code. It looks clean. It looks nice. When you see like a jumbled mess of just stuff thrown together, typically like that's not going to be very good coding. If there's no spacing and it's not aligned properly, that's kind of a red flag right there. So there it is. That's my quick tip for the day. If you're going to get a website, make sure to look at the back end too. It will, you got to count your all the time that you'll spend updating the site and editing it, the cost of hiring a website designer to make edits, and that should all factor into your budget as well. So think about that before you hire a website designer. By the way, if you are thinking of hiring a website designer, please visit thomasdigital.com. We offer a free mock-up of your new website before you sign or pay for anything. Otherwise, hope you liked this video. If you do, please feel free to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one.